Hey guys, Brian from Boas here. While I was doing my afternoon gravid boa checks a few hours ago, I looked in an enclosure and I saw a cute little baby boa looking back at me. So really excited to have another litter on the ground. This is a long anticipated litter of Peruvian true Redtails. So really excited. It's been a while since I've had Peruvian Redtails. I decided to give her just a couple hours, hopefully finish up having her litter and had dinner, and now I'm back to check on the litter. So I'm going to go take the mother out, clean her up, clean up the cage, and we'll look at the babies and see what we have. Okay, so here we are. This is my Peruvian female, and I saw some babies in there. Let me just get this hide out of the way. Hopefully she's not going to bite me. Oop. Okay. Okay, so I see some babies there. Looks like I see a couple slugs also. One of them looks like a stillborn. Not a huge litter. Actually, it looks like I just see maybe three or four of them. And then the stillborn. Looks like the female's kind of poking them around. Sometimes they do this to try to stimulate them to move. Hopefully they're going to be moving, but we'll have a look. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the female out carefully. Sometimes females that just gave birth can be a little defensive, so we'll get her in a tub of lukewarm water, get her cleaned up, get the scent off, and then we'll see what we have as far as the babies. But you can see she's kind of pushing around. Oh, I just saw a baby move, so that's a good sign. Actually, it looks like she might be trying to eat the slugs. Sometimes they will eat the slugs, so I don't know if that's what's going to happen right now, but she's kind of pushing the babies around a bit. So the mother's soaking right now in some lukewarm water to get the scent off of her, get her cleaned up. And here's the litter. So it's kind of a small litter. You know, sometimes you get quality, not quantity. So it looks like we have 4 live babies. There's 1 stillborn and 3 slugs. So here's the downside. 3 slugs and a stillborn. And these slugs, kind of unusual in appearance. They're kind of darker and harder than normal. I was thinking maybe these were retained from a previous year's mating, which I tried breeding her unsuccessfully the year before. But they might just be kind of old and dried. And then there's the stillborn, and you know, he looks pretty much normal to based on appearance, so not sure what happened to this guy, but unfortunately sometimes they just don't make it, so he'll get a burial in the garden along with these slugs. And then here we have 4 living babies, so you can see they're kind of still moving around in the goo, the remains of the amniotic sac. There's one here that's still pretty much in the amniotic sac. There's a head peeking out there in the back, and he was moving around, so it just might take him an hour or 2 to get out of the amniotic sac. But look at those tails, really beautiful red tails there. And then the 4th one here is kind of exploring, moving around. So now I'm going to take these guys out and move them into a 14-gallon Sterilite tub with some moist paper towels. Okay, I got the 4 of them in this 14-gallon Sterilite tub. You can see one of the little guys is really moving around a lot, and the others are kind of more chill. One's still in the amniotic sac. There's the guy that's moving around, and there's his sibling. But the colors are just really popping on these guys, just really amazing looking bright red tails. There's some remnants of the yolk. And there's one. And this one is still mostly in the amniotic sac, but you can see the head is popping out a bit there. So the quality is definitely there. Would have been nice to have more, but you know, it's great to have any of these beautiful Peruvian true Redtails. And one thing that's kind of amazing is these guys are huge. I mean, they got to be almost 2 feet long and really thick around, you know, thicker around as my thumb. So I've got some 2-year-old dwarf called Boas that are much bigger than this, so that shows you how big these guys are. So real nice Peruvian true redtail. Some beautiful markings on these guys as well. You can see the beautiful markings on this one. So this guy looks a little bit swollen up there. His abdomen is kind of distended. Sometimes they do have these yolk bellies, and usually the swelling goes down after a few days. But these guys are right at the due date, actually 105 days to the day after the post-ovulation shed. And look at that beautiful red tail. So, you know, my Peruvians and, you know, Surinams typically will go a week or two after the due date based on the post-ovulation shed. So it's possible that, you know, if true red tails are really typically 110, 115 days, that these might be a couple days early, but they're definitely very large and well formed, you know, very big babies. So I'm going to keep them in this 14-gallon Sterilite tub on top of a 90-degree hot spot. Keep them nice and moist, and change the paper towels in a few hours. Just get rid of that goo smell. And they'll stay in this Sterilite tub for about a week and a half till they have their first shed, at which point they'll go into individual housing and have their first meal. The mother boa is done soaking now, and I cleaned her tub thoroughly, put in some fresh substrate. So she's kind of exploring the tub now, probably looking for a meal. She's probably pretty hungry, as she lost a lot of her body weight to that litter. But she definitely has that kind of sagging, deflated look to her. Although she probably didn't lose as much proportionally as some of my other litters, so she'll put the weight back on and pretty quickly. So she did great for her first litter. And this is actually a second generation litter. Both of the parents were born here, which is pretty exciting. I'm just going to let her rest, and she'll have a well-deserved meal tomorrow morning of a rat. It's been a while, and I just came to change the paper towels, and you can see the babies. They're just kind of piling up in the corner like they usually do over the heat source. And about the most noteworthy thing about with these babies is just their huge size. These guys are really big and really chunky as well. They're probably bigger than most of my 1-year-old holdback locality boas. I don't know if you can see, but you can see the size compared to my thumb. They're thicker around than my thumb. And I have pretty big hands, so really big boas. Really beautiful looking animals. Some great looking patterns on these guys. Some of them have these thin, slightly peaked saddles, and a lot of really cool markings in between the saddles as well. There you can see a close-up of just how beautiful the markings are. And then of course the tails on these guys are also really breathtaking. These really big, deep red tails with these really thick bands of color on the tail. Just breathtaking. I'm sure they'll look even better when they shed. So really nice animals, real top quality baby Peruvian redtails. Just wish I had a few more of them, but you know, sometimes that's how it rolls. You get some slugs. You got to focus on the positive that you got some babies, even though those slugs could have ended up as babies. It didn't. So just have to be happy about these animals, and looking forward to seeing how they look after they shed. And I'll just leave you with a quick shot of the tub. Of course, I keep them in these 14-gallon Sterilite tubs for about a week and a half till they are ready to shed. You can see I added a water dish, mostly for increasing the humidity. I don't think they'll drink that much. Sometimes I've seen the babies like to soak as well. And just a simple paper towel substrate that I keep nice and humid. The temperature is set to about 90 degrees, just on the hot side of the enclosure. I'm going to leave you guys with a look at the father of this litter. This is a 2015 holdback Bacopa type Peruvian male born here, and just a really impressive animal. You can see he's got these beautiful thin, slightly peaked saddles, and lots of like this beautiful golden yellow coloration. Lots of these speckles and pigment on his belly. Just a really nice looking animal. I just love how the pigment on the bottom or the belly of these true red tails has this spotting. And you can see, I don't know if you can see under the underside of his head, just this beautiful characteristic look of a true red tail. This guy is really solid, really muscular animal. You can see his body is very square. He's probably about 6.5, maybe even 7 feet. It's hard to get a precise measurement on these guys, but he's really solid animal, very muscular. About the most muscular type of boa that you can get, one of these Peruvian true red tails. And he's pretty laid back. I mean, the Peruvians are a little bit more uptight. You know, probably not your easiest animal to handle as far as boas, but you can see this guy is not, you know, squeezing or misbehaving. He's a pretty calm animal to handle. And you can see some of the babies definitely had the characteristics of this male. So I expect that they'll be pretty similar to this guy, you know, 4, 5, 6 years from now when they reach adulthood. But just an awesome true red tail boa. Of course, a long, dark red tail. The Peruvians tend to have kind of a slightly darker, maybe a little bit more brownish red. Maybe not quite as bright as the Surinames, but nonetheless they are one of the most exquisite looking locality boas that you can own. So speaking of that, unfortunately this was a pretty small litter. Most of them will probably be available. I probably will hold back 1, maybe 2 animals. I just have to see, but some of them will be available. I'm guessing probably 2 months or so from now after they're established and feeding, so maybe around early November. So hopefully I'll be able to get them out before the weather turns too cold. Usually I can ship up to like December, so there should be a little bit of a window. But real nice animals. You can't beat a Peruvian true red tail. For many it's the ultimate in locality boas, and I'm certainly happy to have this litter on the ground after I didn't get any Peruvians last year. They've just been a little bit more challenging for me to produce than the Surinames. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video and liked looking at these Peruvian boas. As always, shoot me any questions or comments you may have. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your boas.